Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay guys, part 2 for video number 2 for the Canon EOS 5D Mark II. Nearly said 500 again. Oh, this is going to be difficult. We're going to have a look more at the information in this top light LCD. Okay, so I'm going to go back to manual because it's going to show most of the information that we need. Everything's going to be active and we're going to have a quick look. Okay, now remember, this button can light it up in the dark so you can see what you're doing. Now, we have dual options here. We've got metering and white balance on this button, AF and drive on this one, ISO and flash exposure compensation if you're using a TTL flash on the camera or connected via a TTL cord, or TTL capable triggers. Maybe you've got a master flash controlling slave flashes, so you can work from there. You can also control that information via the flash as well and in the menus. As we know, that lights up the screen. Now, these buttons here, this is a lock, an exposure lock. So say if we were in aperture priority, we got the camera to meter, then we can press the exposure lock and it will not shift on you, okay, until you remove it. Okay, and this is to change the autofocus points. So we can see the grid come up there and we can rotate through here, and we can also use the jog wheel, or the joystick if you will, or the wheel on the back of the camera to move through the autofocus points. And there they are, all autofocus points active. The camera's going to pick. No, you're not. Okay, so I'm going to press that center one on the joystick on the rear to get the middle one back, and there we go. So looking at this first button here, as I press this and I move that rear wheel on the back of the body of the camera, we can change the white balance: auto, sunny, shade, cloudy, it's always cloudy in this country, tungsten, so indoors, incandescent, candles, desk lamps, all the lights on the ceilings, okay, fluorescent, flash white balance, custom white balance, we'll have a look how to set that later, Kelvin value, and kind of a similar custom white balance thing, but you dial in a Kelvin color temperature, okay, and back to auto. Now, as we press this button and then we use this dial on the front, we can change through the metering modes. Okay, so evaluative, center weighted average, spot metering, okay, and average metering and so forth there. I leave it on evaluative myself. Personal preference, it's rare that I'll use spot metering. I don't need to now. I can work it on evaluative, but they're there to switch to if you need to. We'll look at the metering modes and what they do probably on my other channel as a general photography tutorial, because the metering modes are fairly similar across all cameras, and for the most part, whilst the name of them changes, it's all same. Okay, and there's more to metering than just the particular mode, because it gets into exposure and all that stuff. So the next one here, as we press this next one, AF and drive, and we use that rear wheel, it changes the drive. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take that off. Okay, press that button, and here it's single shot. Click, click. Okay, if I press that button again, it's going to go to burst mode. 3.9 seconds of 21 megapixels full frame action. Not really that fast, but it's not really a sports camera. Anyway, we can then go on to 2-second timer and 10-second timer. So it's 10-second timer first, then the 2-second timer. It's a little hard probably to see that because it's tucked in the corner there. So if you're doing self-portraits, or selfies as they're called now, you could use the 10-second timer. Or, of course, if you're taking a group picture whilst you're away on holiday, you could use the 10-second timer or the 2-second timer. Okay, so we'll take that off before I forget to, and I end up pressing the button when I'm next in the studio and having to wait 10 seconds. Done that before. As we press that button again and we use the front dial here, okay, I need to turn autofocus back on. Come on, get with it. So there we go. We've got one shot, AI focus, where the camera will choose whether it's a still subject or whether it's moving. Okay, so if you're going from shooting kids, for example, who can be still and then next second they're running around like crazy, the camera will switch to continuous focus, single, continuous single, continuous single, or continuous in one shot, based on what's happening, rather than you having to quick change mode every 5 minutes or 30 seconds as it may well be. So from here, the next one is AI Servo. Okay, so this is continuous autofocus. So the camera will continuously hunt for focus and check focus. If you stay still and your subject stays still, it should hold steady. As you start to move and your subject starts to move, it will start to shift the focus. Okay, it's not one I use a whole lot because I don't really shoot a lot of moving action. Or if I do shoot portraits where someone's jumping, doing something, I usually lock focus, kick it to manual focus, and just have them hit the mark and just repeat. It's another way of doing it. Now the next button, ISO. Okay, if you touch the ISO button and then move the rear wheel, it moves your exposure compensation, okay, or your flash exposure compensation depending on what you're doing. Now, exposure compensation in aperture priority, you can tell it basically, no, you're stupid, give me more light, give me less light. Okay, that will go to manual there, like so. So we can either equal it out, go +2, or we can go -2 on the exposure compensation. Not that it really makes any difference in manual mode, it's more for aperture and shutter priority. If we press that button again and use the top wheel, we can change the ISO, going from auto low, which is 50, 100, 125, 160, 200, 250, 320, 400, 500, 640, 800, and so on and so forth. This camera does third stops on the ISO changes, not all cameras do, all the way through to 6400, then high one, 12,800, then 25,600, whatever it is, okay, into high 2. Basically, what that is noisy, still really noisy, still really noisy, starting to be usable, okay, fine, no worries, and obviously it's clean below there. The high ones are for emergencies. That said, documentary photographers, news photographers, journalists use those kind of settings a lot because it's about getting a picture, not how clean and less noise free the image is. It's more about the story and the image itself. So these are the controls that we have on top of the camera. Okay, don't forget, if we turn the lights off again, we can turn that LCD plate on. If I open up the aperture, we'll be able to see it a little bit more. Okay, we'll close that back down, turn the lights back on, and they are all the controls on the top of the 5D Mark II and the information that will be displayed there as well. As you activate some other modes, you may see one or two of those change. These are modes from within the menus that we'll have a look at, but that's what you're going to see for the most part. So we'll get another video done next, and we'll start to look at the menus on the camera. I'm actually due to go away or travel for a short while, so once this video is released, it'll take me a little while before the one after that's released, or the series to follow after that are released, so just bear with me on that. Any questions, of course, stick them in the comments below. Please like and share, stick these in the groups that you're in on Facebook if you feel they're going to help somebody, because it's not about pushing my channel out there to get more subscribers. Whilst yes, that's nice, it's more about helping people, and it's not going to happen if people don't know about these tutorials and they don't see them. So on to the next video, and we'll see you guys soon.